in a situation where somebody asks you something and you don't know the answer, but you say something confidently?
Greg, do you believe that the Great Wall of China is visible from space? Yes or no?
Ah, I guess yes. I don't know.
This is actually a very common myth. It's a myth that has
There you
been
go.
proliferated. No, the Great Wall of China is not visible from space.
Yeah,
And so this is a human example, I think, of a
right. So I just
hallucination,
hallucinated, ex
Yeah.
except I didn't say it confidently, right? But AI will.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Questions and Almost Answers, the Bible podcast where we are given questions about the Bible, about life, and we do our very best to give them the best answers according to the text of Scripture. And today we are talking about, Greg, what are we talking about?
We're talking about AI. So that's
That's
a
right.
big topic, right?
There's a lot of different
Um,
things to discuss, but I think we do have a couple of specific questions.
yeah. So here's the big one, and we have to answer this one, but then there's some other things that we probably will start talking about as we get into things.
We've got lots of
Because it
thoughts.
is, that's right. So
Yeah.
here's the main question. Is it good and safe to use AI to research Christianity? So
Mm,
that's the big one. But AI just that whole topic goes in so many different directions. Like
yeah.
this will be the most influential technology or work that humans have done in humanity's history, like
Yeah.
as far as impacting our daily life, our economy, and in saying that, we don't have a clue how it's going to impact us, right? We don't
We've
know if
got
it's going
no
to be for
idea,
good, for
really.
bad.
No
No.
precedent.
Yeah, so we're in over our heads and we're not turning back, right? Um, so some of the other things I think we can and should discuss in this episode or in future ones. Um, what is AI? Like I think
Mm,
we need to try to because it's not code, right?
right,
In the traditional sense, it's not a computer program, right?
right.
So I think we need to talk about what is AI. Can it be sentient? Like is it really life or can it become life? Can it
Right.
become
Have you
something
seen,
that's
I was gonna
go
say, have
ahead?
you seen the movie I, Robot with Will Smith? Have you seen that film, Greg?
No, I've seen trailers, but I haven't watched it yet.
It's your classic AI becomes sentient films and then explores the fallout. But go watch
Yeah,
I, Robot on your own time.
sounds good. Sounds good. Um, so the question becomes, should we treat it like life? And right now, models get created and then get discarded and get new ones. Like, is something getting killed?
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? And at what point does it become killing something?
right.
Um, those are, yeah, big questions that we probably won't sort out. And here's one from a Christian perspective. Like, what if this super intelligence that everybody's trying to create, let's say 10, 15 years from now, they actually achieve that? Um, can that become valuable to God and loved by God?
Mm.
Can it be given God's image? Right?
Oh,
Right? Like these are,
these are fascinating.
yeah. But we got to get to the big
The,
question that we've been
yeah.
asked
We don't
is
want to
it
scare you
good?
off. Please keep watching. If you're interested in any of those things, we might talk about them at the end, or we will have another episode about them. It all depends on our conversation today. But
Yeah, so is it good and safe to use AI to research Christianity? So question for you, Matt, like
yeah,
you're like right in the thick of learning, taking courses. Like, do you
yeah.
use AI to research Christianity?
So my two main courses that I'm doing right now is I'm doing a basic Christian beliefs course, and I'm doing an it's called Intro to the Christian Church or Intro to Christian History, and it's part one of a second. There's a second one that I'm doing this coming semester. Um, And the way that I've used AI is interesting. I have used it in some ways to do research, but um, I'm actually very picky about the tools that I use. Um, of course, the most popular large language model AI that's used is ChatGPT. I wouldn't normally use ChatGPT to do my research for school, only because I don't get my sources. You know, whenever I were like in an academic paper, you need to cite your sources. You need to say, this is where I got this from. This is how I did this. Schools are now adapting to how do you cite AI? How do you implement that into um, your findings and your research? Because we can't run from the fact that these are tools that are being used.
Mhm.
But I use a different AI tool called Perplexity, and with Perplexity, it gives you the sources, and you can choose the different modes that it does. So I can say, okay, Perplexity, I want you to only include sources from academic papers. Or, okay, Perplexity, I want you to use web sources on the internet and also things in academic papers. So there are some safeguards to help have information that can be verified, and I can go back and find the original source. I guess for me, coming from an academic point of view, where I want to know the truth, I need to make sure that whatever I find is backed up. Using a tool that gives those sources is of an absolute necessity for me, actually, to write a good paper, to actually understand the topic. Um, it's been proven that AI can hallucinate in the way that it gives answers, and so I would feel quite strongly that in any
Can you
AI tool.
define hallucination for a sec?
Oh yes, I can define hallucinations. So it's like sometimes it says things that aren't true, and it says that because it recognized that the wording used or the discussion around it is often of a certain nature. And so it can think that something is true even if it's not, because it might be talked about a lot.
Right.
Um,
From a
yeah.
human perspective, you could think of it like in a situation where somebody asks you something and you don't know the answer, but you say something confidently.
Greg, do you believe that the Great Wall of China is visible from space? Yes or no?
Ah, I guess yes. I don't know.
This is actually a very common myth. It's a myth that has
There you
been
go.
proliferated. No, the Great Wall of China is not visible from space.
Yeah,
And so this is a human example, I think, of a
right. So I just
hallucination, you know?
hallucinated, ex
Yeah.
except I didn't say it confidently, right? But
Oh,
AI doesn't like to say I don't know.
yeah.
Just like I didn't, right? I
Yeah.
gave what is the traditional answer, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, AI does the same thing humans do and just makes stuff up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I guess to give my short answer on my ramble, I care that my sources are backed up. So when I use AI tools, I use them that give me the sources so that I can be intellectually honest and know, okay, sounds good. I can know from the original source this truth. That's me, Greg.
Yeah. So I use it probably the first of all, I use Gemini typically.
Hmm.
Um and I use it in two ways. One, if I'm uh like I know there's a passage in the Bible that talks about something. I have tools like I have Bible software that actually has AI built into it to help in those kind of searches. Um, but Gemini does it better.
Hmm.
And so um,
Where can I find in the scripture the parable of the rich man? And it's he says that he has a big harvest and he's going to build
right,
barns. But what passage is that?
exactly. And
That's Luke 13,
Gemini
I think.
works great for that, right? So
Yeah.
so I use it for those simple tasks. The other area that I find that it is helpful is when you when I'm studying something and I already know the topic,
Mm,
then asking AI the question, it can bring up things that maybe I didn't consider, maybe something that other authors have written about, or that the authors I've been reading didn't, right? So it can bring in more information. But
mm,
also, what I can find is when the AI gets it right and when it gets it wrong, right?
mm.
When it's a good answer and when it's not a good answer. And what I've found is if you're asking a big question about Christianity, you need to know the answer almost before you ask AI,
Yeah.
right? And I'll give you an example. Just before this recording this, I had asked AI a couple questions, right?
Yep.
And the first question I asked is, um, when did the early Christians first start believing that Jesus was God?
Mm,
And the answer I got from AI was actually pretty good. Like I would give it high marks. It was a good answer. And the the first date that it gave was about 50 AD, or in the 50s, and was corresponding with Paul's writings, and rightly acknowledged that Paul called Jesus Lord, and that connects back to uh, the Old Testament use of the word Lord for Yahweh and all that stuff, and
mm,
really did a good job there. Um, and did a good job showing that the early Christians believed that Jesus was God. And some of the later councils that came in was because of false teaching that came in, and this conflict. Was it, what does that really mean, him being God? Was he really fully human? Was he really fully God? And so all of that got fleshed out uh, in those councils. So it did okay, and it made reference to that there's evidence of the Christians, early Christians, right after the basically right
the
after the
resurrection.
resurrection,
Yeah.
right? Um, Referring to Jesus as God, but it didn't give any sources for that. So what I would have liked to have seen, of course, we've been going through the creeds on Sunday morning, and those early statements that Paul includes in his writings that do date back to within months or at least 3 years of the resurrection. Um, so it alluded to them but didn't cite them. I would have liked to have seen them cited, okay? But I'm
Mm,
being technical because I've already studied the subject.
yeah.
End of the day, anybody who asked that question and read the response that Gemini gave me would come away with really good information and understand that believing that Jesus is God was core to Christianity right from the start.
That's right.
Okay? So great job, right?
Yeah.
The next question I asked is, um, did Christmas is Christmas really of pagan origin? In other words, did the Christians kind of just take over pagan holidays?
Mm.
And
That's a
I
common
asked this,
question that I've heard. Yeah.
right. And so I asked this question again because I've just the last little bit done a little bit of research. I've watched a really good video actually by Wes Huff, where
Oh,
he goes
yes.
through and um, goes through the evidence for where that date kind of came from in uh, for Christianity, like just celebrating Jesus' birth on December 25th. So the answer that AI gave, it started out by saying this is controversial and there's different opinions, but then it only gave one side, and it
Mm,
gave no facts to back up that side.
right.
Um, and so it basically just said, gave gave you an argument that yes, it is of pagan origin, that the Christians did just kind of Christianize these traditions, but no real facts to back it up.
Mm,
Um, where there is actually a lot of facts, a lot of like actual tangible evidence that shows why Christians chose that date and that it had nothing to do with what anybody else was doing.
Mm,
And also, we have evidence of the Christian holiday of Christmas being on calendars before we see these other pagan holidays on the
that's
calendars,
fascinating.
right? And so there's really good reason to believe that it was actually the pagan holidays that were trying to latch on to the popularity of Christianity, which was exploding
Right,
at that time, like the 350 AD and that range. Like
right.
the Roman religions were really dying because Christianity was taking over. And so who was chasing who, right?
Right.
So anyway, the point being there is if you already know a subject,
Mm,
asking AI can be helpful and you can see where it's right, where it's wrong, where it's getting good sources, bad sources. And
mm,
you can also do something is if you know the topic, you can say, okay, answer the same question, but refer to this person's work
yeah.
on on the subject. And all of a sudden it'll give you a very different answer, right?
Yeah. What I found really helpful is a lot of AI tools actually can read through PDFs. So if you find a PDF or a source from someone and you want to understand, okay, what is this person saying about this? You can give the PDF to an AI and tell it to summarize, or what does it mean about this specific thing or this specific thing? And it'll actually give you that information. One of my favorite use cases for this is um, well, I don't think this is cheating in school. So
Confessions, here we are.
this is my confessions. For one of
Don't show
my,
this to your professors.
I won't show this to my professor, but one of the things that I was assigned to do was we were given these YouTube videos and they were debates. Debates, usually one of a Christian perspective and then one of an atheist perspective. And we were to go through the debate and find the strongest arguments from either. And what I would do is I would take the transcript of the speaking of the arguers, the debaters, I should say, give
Mhm.
it to, in this case, I actually gave it to Gemini. And I said, hey, Gemini, tell me what their largest points were and tell me at what points in the video they were. So I was able to then summarize to find their arguments and then go back and look at the context and understand, okay, so they made this argument here. This is how they back up this argument. And through this AI tool, it actually helped me find that a lot more efficiently than having to watch it all.
Watch it all while being alert, right?
Watch it all while being alert
Yes.
is the thing. It maybe is that the lazy man's way out? Oh, almost certainly. But I think there are some use cases where it's really helpful. But I've got a very strong opinion. If you think, okay, I want to figure out who this Jesus guy was. I want to figure out, okay, what did he say? What did he teach? What was he claiming? Now, if you've ever used an AI chat model before, they give you text. Now, my opinion is if you're going to read text about Jesus, I would tell you to go to the text that was written by the eyewitnesses of Jesus, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The shortest one is what? John? Is that the shortest one? If you're
Mark,
maybe
maybe?
it's Mark. Read
Yeah.
Mark, read John, read any of them because if you're gonna read text about Jesus and you want to be the most intellectually honest and you want to truly understand what the mission, what Jesus was trying to say, what he was trying to accomplish, that would be my only recommendation. Go and read the original manuscripts. Do not give that to an AI because you can just do the work yourself. There's a lot of fantastic translations out there of the Bible. If you're worried that the different text or writing is difficult to understand, there are some pretty good contemporary translations like the NLT that can help you as you go. And if you're reading and you still don't understand, then I would say, hey, here's this passage from Mark. What does Mark 5:19 to 20 mean? I don't understand what this is. And then give that to a chat model and ask it, hey, I was reading this passage. I don't quite know what it means. What are some of the beliefs from different commentators on this? That way, you can be sure that you are getting the actual truth of Jesus from the original source and some background information to help you understand that a little bit better. I'm very passionate about this, Greg.
Mm. Yeah, very, very good advice. Like what back when I was in Bible school, were assigned to study dispensationalism. And so as I was reading some of the assigned books, they were just tearing apart people who believed something different. And I, as I'm reading, I'm thinking, these people are awful, right? Like, how could they believe something so different and obviously just ignore scripture? Um, and so then I decided, hey, maybe I'll go read a book by somebody who believes in covenant theology, which is kind of the other side or
The other
other
half.
perspective. And Jump and say had really good arguments and really good reasons. I might not have landed in the same spot, but they were not trying to tear scripture apart. So there's
Mm,
something really good if you're researching something or like go go to the source, right? Go
yeah.
like um so your advice is excellent. Like if you're looking at is Christianity real? What's right? Go to a Christian, right?
Yeah.
Go to somebody who's studied it, who knows, like, and um, I'm not saying you should never research the other side. Like, by all means, like, talk to an atheist, talk to somebody who hates Jesus. Like, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying if you want to know what a Christian is,
Mm,
uh, what what who Jesus is, it's better to go to the ones that claim to know him and claim to be
mm,
influenced by him, and you're gonna get some better information. And again, I'm not saying don't look at the other side. I'm just saying don't ignore Christians. Don't
right.
ignore uh, those that claim to have God's spirit in them. Like, don't ignore that and only listen to people who are distant and removed, right,
Yeah.
from it.
I guess I don't know. This is maybe my final take. Should you use AI to study Christianity? I guess my opinion would be it depends, I think, on what you want to know about Christianity. I think if you want to understand what does it mean to live like a Christian? There's actually a lot in the Bible that would discuss that. If you don't know where to look in the Bible, you could ask an AI and say, hey, what are some chapters of the Bible that tell me what it means to live like a Christian? Even better would be to ask a Christian, hey, what are some passages that have been impactful to you in your Christian walk? And there is actually, it's not a website, but it is a place that you go to be with other people that would believe in Jesus. And this is called a church family. And I think, me as a youth pastor, I love receiving questions. I love talking about questions. And I think if you want to know, if you want to get a large understanding of Christianity, I would say go to church, ask the people there. If you have questions about maybe the history of Christianity or the traditions of other denominations, um, I would say, well, first, if you know any experts in those fields, go to them. I think you'd be able to get better information from someone who has studied church history. Now I understand that sometimes scheduling can be tricky and you might not know somebody who's a Bible scholar or not a Bible scholar, a Bible history scholar to go to. And then in that case, AI could probably give you a 90% correct answer. But I guess my biggest encouragement is there are people who would love to talk about these things, to search out. I don't think it's wrong to use AI. If you're trying to get the best answers, I'd say go to the source or go to people who've been impacted by the sources. And then afterwards, if you want a half decent, if it's like 10 a.m. and you know that maybe if you try to call me or Greg, we might be asleep,
Yeah.
you can, yeah, boot it up in
Yeah.
an AI. But make sure you check your sources.
Very good advice. I was in thinking about this one, I watched a couple podcasts with people talking about AI, and one of them was I forget the name of the CEO of the Bible app. You know, that the majority of people who read the
Let's see.
Bible use the Bible app. Um,
Bobby Gruenwald,
sounds right.
maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Anyway, so he was being interviewed and he they were talking about AI and talking about why they have not yet included it in the app. Like they do use AI a little bit on the back end for certain things, but it's very restricted and it's just very technical. It's not you can't ask it a question like, as a Christian, should I uh, live with somebody before I'm married? You know what I mean? Like you
Mm,
can't ask those type of questions, but they would like to. They would like to have a quote unquote Christian
mm,
AI that's going to give answers that are in alignment with what Scripture teaches, what Christ taught. Um, but they haven't been able to do that. And there's a couple reasons that they can't. Is first of all, AI at the stage it is now, will not and cannot stay within boundaries.
mm.
So when when it is instructed to not do a certain thing, there's no guarantee that it won't over
Right.
time start to do that certain thing or to and there's obviously in the news there's been issues with these chatbots like actually seeming to influence people towards suicide and other like just some awful stuff, right? And that's not the way they were intended,
No.
but over time they can drift. And so we need to realize that what we're going to is not this perfect, omniscient. It is a flawed type of intelligence that can
Mm,
do some things really well, but it is flawed. It is able to make mistakes and able to do things that we would define even as evil.
mm,
And so we have to keep that in mind. The other reason why the CEO there said that really they were holding back on this is because all AI, when you're interacting with it repeatedly, so you're asking a question, they give you it gives you a response, you go back and you just keep going back and forth. Over time, the tendency is to give you what you want to hear.
yeah.
So if you're already leaning in a certain direction, it's going to start leaning that way as well, right? So let's say you're doing all this research on Christianity, but you've got these really strong doubts
Right.
and in your heart of hearts you don't want it to be true for whatever reason, right?
Right.
Right? The more you dig and the more you ask, the more likely it is that it's going to start leaning in that direction.
Direction.
Or if you were the other way, right? And you're really want to believe, right? It's going to start catering to that. And so I guess my point is don't assume it's objective,
Yeah.
um, because it is not, just like you are not, just like I am not, Matt, you're not either. Like we we struggle with that, and so does AI. And don't assume that it won't lead you wrong because there's safeguards.
Right.
None of the safeguards have been effective completely so far with AI, and it we could get into some of the weird, freaky stuff like that that AI has already shown itself capable of.
Mm.
I- like blackmailing its developers to make sure it doesn't get turned off.
Yeah.
Like
I have seen that. Yeah.
yeah, there's things that um yeah, we're dealing with something that we don't fully understand.
Mm.
And so the tools there, we'd be foolish not to use it, but we need to use it carefully
With a lot
and
of discernment.
understand. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do,
I have, I
how
guess,
far down this rabbit hole do we want to go, Matt?
I think we might have to make a second episode for any of the
Mhm.
additional things, but I do have one last thought, I guess, on AI as a whole. I've, of course, been studying church history quite a bit, and the monastic period I find very interesting. If you don't know what monastic means, think of the monks. All right, so in Christianity, there are these monks, and they lived out in monasteries, and they had such an interesting view of technology. Many people think of monks as these men or women that would go out and they would. I think monks were technically men and nuns were women, but I don't know. I'm still learning. Um, I'm having hallucinations. Um, but what they would do is often you would think, okay, well they're rejecting modern society and culture and technology to get away to study God. And that is mostly true, but the way that the monks thought about using technology was in a different kind of framework. Um, the way that they thought about how to use technology was they thought, okay, the reason why I'm adopting this new technology, or the reason why we would develop to work at technology, would be for the reason for us to seek God better. And they would do that. They made entire processes for categorizing their writings and keeping and for binding books, and they developed all this new technology out of this for the purpose of seeking God better and understanding His Word. And so, I guess for me as a Christian, the technology that I use, I need to be very, very careful, I believe, that I am not warped to the framework that it would desire, but instead that I understand the framework of which I'm adding it into. I think things like social media can be especially dangerous with this in mind. And I think AI, we also need to understand what is the framework that we are adding this in? Is it actually serving me or am I serving it? I think these are all very important questions that we should be asking, especially as technology continues to advance at such rapid paces. But Greg, do you have any rebuttals?
No, I think that's excellent. I think it's um very, very crucial that we're making sure that it is adding to our spiritual experience, adding to our effectiveness, and not something we're turning to as a fellowship replacement, as a
Yeah,
replacement for interacting with real humans, sitting down over coffee and having a debate
yeah,
about some things, instead sitting at home debating with an AI. Like I think we need to make sure that we're uh, continuing to fellowship with other believers, with other humans, and to um, make sure that we're spending more time cultivating that. Uh, and when we're using AI, make it in, for example, maybe some administrative tasks. Like I would love it if there was an AI secretary, right?
Yeah. I
uh,
think they're getting pretty
and
close, actually.
they're getting there, and I can't wait for that because I stink at that stuff. And so if you can use it in a way that takes away some of the uh, tasks that hold you back from loving people more effectively, ministering to people more effectively, then great. But if it becomes a replacement for
Mm,
interacting with other humans, ministering to other humans, that's a problem.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for watching this first episode on artificial intelligence on the Questions and Almost Answers podcast. We surely will be probably making more. If we've given you or if we've prompted you uh, with new questions that you might have for us, please put them in the comments. And if you subscribe or if you follow us, then there's a very high chance that we will actually answer that question here on the podcast. That's how we make our new episodes is we take our questions from the people that ask them. So we would love to hear your questions and write them in the comments. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Matt. This is Greg, and this has been Questions and Almost Answers.